All right, so get this. Picture a lone figure with this striking platinum hair, decked out in what sounds like, well, futuristic armor, standing next to this massive, wired up brain, and all of this set in some crumbling industrial wasteland.
Talk about setting the stage.
Right. It practically screams cyberpunk, doesn't it? And that's where we're diving in today.
Yeah, that image you described is like the classic cyberpunk recipe.
Yeah.
You got that grittiness, the decay, but then bam, super advanced tech smack dab in the middle of it all.
It's that push and pull, right? Like humanity's trying to figure out if it's in control or along for the ride. And speaking of that tension, we've got to talk about the artist behind it all, Mojo Yates.
Oh, Yates is a master at capturing that friction, I guess you could say. But for him, it's more than just cool visuals. He's digging into what it means to be human when the lines between us and machines, they start to get all blurry.
And speaking of blurry lines, that platinum hair on our mysterious figure, it's
Yeah.
got to be more than just a fashion choice in a world like this, right?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. Platinum hair in cyberpunk. It's often a big screw you to the norm, to a society trying to cram everyone into the same box.
It's that need to stand out, to say, hey, I'm an individual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in a world where tech is king, well, that need to hold on to your own identity, to not become just another cog in the machine, it's huge.
Yeah, and then there's that brain. I mean, it's massive, wired up with actual roots digging down into the ground. It's unsettling, but there's also this weird beauty to it.
Oh, totally. It's like Yates is showing us the human mind, but it's all tangled up with technology. You start to wonder, are those wires, those roots, are they a lifeline or are they like feeding off the brain? Is this dependence or is it something much weirder?
It definitely makes you think, and it makes me want to dig a little deeper into how Yates creates these images. He's considered a pretty important figure in the digital art world, right?
But without a doubt, he's at the forefront of modern surrealism.
Okay, so instead of melting clocks, we've got wired up brains taking root. Got it. But seriously, what's this whole modern surrealism thing all about?
Well, it's like taking those classic surrealist themes, the strange, the subconscious, and bringing them into our digital world. And the tools, those digital tools, they give artists like Yates this whole other level of control, light, texture, detail. It's hyper-realistic, but still totally surreal.
So he's exploring these complex ideas about tech, identity, our place in all of this, and he's using tools that wouldn't have even existed a few decades ago to do it.
Exactly. It's a reflection of our time, a way to try and make sense of how technology is changing us, good and bad.
It's like looking into a funhouse mirror. Yeah, it's distorted, but it's still reflecting something real about how we see ourselves and this tech-filled future we're barreling towards.
Well put.
Thinking about that image, about what happens next, does our hero merge with this brain? Do they try to rip those wires out? Does it even matter?
And that's the beauty of art like this. Yates isn't giving us answers. He's making us ask the questions. And maybe, just maybe, those questions are more important than any easy answers we could come up with.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this deep dive. But for our listeners at home, think about that image, about those questions we raised today. What do you think happens next? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know.